welcome to Shell Point Today for Tuesday, March 22nd. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Thanks so much for joining us today. On today's program, Jack Adams from Audiology Consultants of Florida will discuss hearing aids with Heather Battey. Bev Chandley will get us in the mood for a hockey outing coming this weekend. And Melanie Broad will team up with Heather Battey for a fit tip. But first, we'd like to remind you that the annual Library Fund Drive ends tomorrow.
It's not too late to help support this self-sustaining service. The library is dependent upon contributions during this annual event in order to stay up to date with complete resources to meet the needs of our community. All donations may be made payable to the Shell Point Library and can be sent via intra-campus mail or dropped off at either service desk.
It seems not too long ago there was quite a chill in the air and the ever-lingering hint of winter. But forget about all that now. Spring is here full swing. It may not seem like it today, but the weather's not the only thing swinging. So are the baseball bats over at JetBlue Stadium. So head on out this Thursday and watch the Boston Red Sox play the New York Mets. Court pickups begin on the island at 11 a.m. and you'll get back to Shell Point around 5:30. The cost of the outing is $36 with the hot dogs, popcorn, and Cracker Jack on your own. So make sure you're all signed up to play ball.
Well, it is time again for the Aviation Club meeting this Thursday. Residents Gary and Janet Colod are proud of their granddaughter Lauren, who is a lieutenant in the Air Force. She'll join the Aviation Club via video to talk about her experiences as a student in the Air Force Academy. She now flies the KC-135 Stratotanker and will be heading to the Middle East soon. So don't miss the Aviation Club meeting in the Osprey Room at 1:15 p.m. on Thursday.
Hearing aids are wonderful technological devices. They can help improve our hearing ability. But how do we know when the time is right to consider them? Well, Jack Adams from Audiology Consultants of Southwest Florida comes to our aid with a presentation on Thursday in the Social Center. He visits with Heather Battey today to talk about the presentation on how to know when you need a hearing aid.
Hi, I'm Heather Battey with Resort Services. Today I'm here with Jack Adams from the Audiology Consultants of Southwest Florida. He's here with me today to discuss his upcoming Health Connection program called How Do I Know If I Need a Hearing Aid? Jack, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure, as always.
So how do you know if you need a hearing aid?
It's a really good question. I first want to make a comment that it's a well-known fact in the industry that from the first moment that people start to question something about their hearing, like, gee, maybe I'm not hearing quite as well as I could or should, or other people start to point it out to them, it takes that person 7 years before they actually get in to schedule themselves for an evaluation. The average time frame from first recognition to doing something about that recognition is a 7-year period. And I find that to be very true with my patients. And it's because at first they're not sure if it's hearing loss or they're just not paying attention or it's age related. So they're not absolutely sure as to what the cause of those problems are. And a lot of times they're not sure what the problems associated with hearing loss really are. If they forget something, is it their memory or is it the fact that they didn't hear it properly in the first place? Or if they, respond to a question with the wrong answer, were they not paying attention or did they not hear it properly? Mm-hmm. So they're a little bit confused and not certain as to which route they should take or if it really is something that needs attention or doesn't need attention.
What are some of the first kind of things that you would notice? Would it be you can't hear your TV or your radio has to be louder or hearing people? Which kind of things would actually come first?
Most of the things that come first are actually from other people rather than from the person with the hearing problem.
Okay.
It's other people saying, that TV's kind of loud, mm-hmm. or, I told you that an hour ago, mm-hmm. or, didn't you hear what I said? It's the other person, the spouse or the friend or the neighbor, that is pointing out to people that they are not, either paying attention or hearing as well as they could or should. And that a lot of times turns people off because it becomes aggravating. And there's a lot of denial that goes on. I mean, people don't want to admit that they have a problem. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that there's a problem. And that's true of any aging process. You know, we don't want to give into it, so to speak, which is one of the reasons why people wait as long as they do. But there are a lot of problems with waiting also to do something about it, which is why I wanted to present this presentation, because people that do something about their hearing loss very early on are usually much more successful with hearing aids than people that wait too long. And the reason for that is because they're living in a quiet world. And it becomes much more difficult to bring people out of that quiet world the longer they live in it. So if your world is getting quieter and quieter over a 7-year period to the point where you now have a 30 or 35% hearing loss, and you suddenly give people back all this sound that they have forgotten about and haven't been used to, they're like, whoa, what is this? I don't want to hear all this. Yeah, exactly. So it becomes a much more difficult process, not only for me as a professional having to deal with that person, but for that individual in terms of getting used to and accommodating the changes or the improvements in how well they hear.
Right, and hearing is so important for just our everyday living, or the communication. You miss out on so much if you're not being able to hear correctly.
Yeah, I just read a quote the other day from Helen Keller that said, vision keeps people from things. Hearing keeps people from people. And that's very true. I mean, it's all about communication. It's all about, you know, our quality of life. I tell patients every day, and when you purchase hearing aids, it's simply a quality of life issue. If you don't want your quality of life improved, then you shouldn't be buying hearing aids. But if you do, then there are a lot of things that can be done, and the earlier the better in terms of improving that quality of life.
Right. Now, at this presentation, will you actually be testing hearing or just talking about these sort of things?
We're not going to be testing hearing. That can be scheduled anytime. I'm out on the Arbor on Wednesdays, and we can certainly test people at any time if they think they have a problem. But I encourage all adults at any age to at least get a baseline hearing test just so that they have it, so that when we do test somebody's hearing and there's a loss, we can get a feel for how long that has taken or how much acquisition of hearing loss has occurred over a period of time. But one of the things I want to share with people at this presentation are there are any number of different like self-questionnaires and profiles that you can take, you know, answering different questions about different listening environments, answering different questions about where you start to question, you know, your ability to hear. And they're kind of self-grading questionnaire profile types of things that people and spouses together can take to try to help somebody truly identify whether a problem exists or not, and a problem that is solely geared towards hearing loss, not other, you know, aging types of problems.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I think this is great for someone who thinks they might be losing their hearing, or if you think someone around you might be, your spouse, someone that you're living with. So make sure you attend this Health Connection presentation. How do I know if I need a hearing aid? It's Thursday, March 24th at 1:15 in the Social Center. We hope to see you there, and stay happy and healthy.
Bev Chandley is a huge hockey fan. She's got all her gear and is ready to go play. Come on out with her this weekend to watch the Everblades hockey team play the Greenville Swamp Rabbits at the Germain Arena in Estero.
Chandley, and I love ice hockey. I grew up north where ice hockey was real popular. Everybody played it out on the pond, and some people played it in leagues. And when I moved to Florida in the year 2000, I couldn't tell you how excited I was to find out that Southwest Florida has its own professional hockey team, the Florida Everblades. Now, I know a lot of you residents out there also grew up north and in frozen wastelands where hockey was popular, and you had your own favorite teams. But we like to go out and see these Everblades play. They're a wonderful team, and they are the defending Kelly Cup champions this year. So we want to get out there and support our championship team. by signing up to go on the Shell Point Everglades trip. Now, we will be at Germain Arena. There will be stairs to navigate and arena seating to navigate. So be sure you're up for the task. Should be a great night out. So grab a friend, get ready, get psyched to go see the hockey team. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We will see you then.
Well, if hockey doesn't take your breath away, then perhaps this next segment will. The fitness dynamic duo of Melanie Brode and Heather Battey are out at the park on the island, ready to get you moving and help you stay fit. Here's a fit tip to get you started.
Hi, I'm Melanie Brode with today's Fit Tip, and I have Heather Battey with me today, and she's going to demonstrate some exercises. I hear a lot about, I feel that my legs are getting weak and I can't get up and out of the chair, so what can I do? You can get up and get out of the chair. So I'm going to have Heather sit at the end of the chair with her feet planted, and she's going to throw her arms forward, and she's going to try to stand all the way up and go all the way down. All the way up. Keep going, Heather. Let's try to go a little bit faster. Oh. You got it. If this is hard for you, and it may be because you're losing strength in your legs, then you should rock back, lift your feet, and use momentum to lift yourself up and out of the chair. So this is an easy way to be a beginner because you're using your momentum to force you up and out of the seat. Good. And then she just demonstrated as we started, it was a little bit more difficult because she's keeping her feet planted and she's pushing through her heels, her glutes, her stomach, quadriceps. This is going to give you a whole lower body strengthening workout, and it's a little bit of cardio. Like you said earlier, you can exercise during the commercials, during the TV when you're watching, and you'll get a workout. Good job, Heather. That's today's Fit Tip. We'll see you later.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, academy news, menus, and Village Church Connection.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley.
And I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
And we're going to tell you the activities we offer for you here today through Resort Services. We're going to start with a 7:15 Health Connections class today, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That'll be in the Tarpon Room on the island. And we have round robin doubles tennis at the Woodlands at 8 o'clock. 8:15 is the time the Stamp Ministry will be down in the tunnel in the Stamp Room doing their projects. And the Ladies Golf Association will be down at the golf course at 8:30. Now we move on to 9 o'clock for bocce down at the Woodlands Bocce Court. And we have a 9 o'clock springtime tea and tour. That's at the dining room of the Arbor. We have open painting in the art studio at 9:15. We have a 9:15 card making and scrapbooking group in the Tarpon Room. And match play mixed doubles tennis will be down at the Woodlands at 9:30. And our Susie Q heads out at 10 o'clock. Today they'll go to Woody's Waterfront Restaurant. You do need to sign up for those trips. At 10:15 we have a Health Connections class, Fall Prevention Workshop. That'll be in the Social Center. You do need to sign up for that one. At 10:15, Through the Bible Study Group will be in the Osprey Room on the island. And our last morning activity is a LifeQuest Living Healthy class in the Osprey Room, and that begins at 11:45. Caitlin, what have we got this afternoon?
Well, Bev, the Bloodmobile will be in front of the Village Church starting at 12:30 and will be there until 6. Also at 12:30, we have a mixed progressive bridge game in the Woodlands Game Room. At 1:15, fun and fitness will be held in the community room of King's Crown. Also at 1:15, the Knitters group will be in the Osprey Room. Another 1:15 activity is shuffleboard at the shuffleboard courts. And our last 1:15 activity is Women's Ministries Prayer for Missions. They'll be meeting in the hospitality room of the Village Church. The Stamp Ministry will be in the Sable Room at the Woodlands at 1:30. And come out for library book talk. That's in the Social Center. All are welcome. That starts at 2:15. 3:45 is the time for the Rollicking Recorderist. They'll be meeting in the Tarpon Room. And at 7:15, we have the Photo Show Gala at the Resident Activity Center. We're so happy you joined us here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 10:15, we have iPhone, What's in the Air, and iCloud. beginning in the Manatee Room on the island, and sign-up is required. At 1:15, our Math and Society class continues in the Manatee Room on the island. At 1:15, Tips and Shortcuts for the Serious Computer User continues in the Technology Teaching Center on the island. Today is Tuesday, and I'd like to welcome all the new volunteers who have chosen to serve in the Larson Pavilion with our Pavilion Auxiliary. We're so glad you have chosen the committees you want to support, and we trust you will feel the satisfaction of service that has kept us going for 25 years serving our friends and neighbors. If anyone else would like to join us, please see the back page of the weekly reminder.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is baked salmon with whole wheat penne primavera. The dinner special is the carved turkey buffet for $13.95. The soup of the day is country cabbage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a ham and turkey sub with Swiss and chips for $7.75. The dinner special is fried catfish with hush puppies, fries, and slaw for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are seared hanger steak for $15.95 or fried shrimp for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. During the Napoleonic Wars, men were conscripted into the French army by a lottery system. When someone's name was drawn, he had to go off to battle. There was one exception to this rule, however. A person could be exempted if another was willing to take his place. On one occasion, the authorities came to a family man and told him that he had been selected to join the army, but he refused to go, saying, "I was shot and killed 2 years ago." At first, they questioned his sanity, but he insisted that this indeed was the case. He claimed that the military records would show that he had been conscripted 2 years ago and had been killed in action. "Well, how can that be if you're alive now?" they asked. He explained that when his name had come up, a close friend had said to him, "You have a large family, but I'm not even married and have no dependents. I'll take your name and address and go in your place." And that is indeed what the record showed. The case was referred up to Napoleon Bonaparte, who decided that France had no legal claim on the man. He was free. He had died in the person of someone else. Now, this story led me to reflect on part of the Easter story. On the day Christians call Good Friday, Pontius Pilate, governor of the Roman province of Judea under Tiberius Caesar, was holding 2 prisoners, and he had the tradition of releasing one of them during the Passover festival as a goodwill gesture to the people. One was a criminal named Barabbas, who was on death row, convicted of murder and leading a revolt against the Romans who occupied his country. According to the early biblical scholar Origen and other commentators, his full name was Jesus Bar Abbas. Not only was his first name Jesus, but his last name, Barabbas, means son of the Father, Bar Abba. The other prisoner, of course, was Jesus the Messiah, who referred to himself as the Son of the Father, Bar Abba. So, Pilate asked the crowd to choose between 2 men, both named Jesus, Son of the Father, but with very different stories. Here's the record of the event, as recorded by Matthew in his Gospel, chapter 27, and this is the New Revised Standard Version. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they wanted. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release to you? Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" Whom would the people choose to be set free? Jesus Barabbas, the murderer and thief? Or Jesus of Nazareth, who had done nothing wrong, who loved people, who healed the sick, and taught about the kingdom of God? The Bible continues. Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor again said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" All of them said, "Let him be crucified." And then he asked, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Let him be crucified." So he released Barabbas to them. And after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. And that's the end of the quote from Matthew. Jesus, the innocent man, would be murdered, and Barabbas, the murderer, would be set free. Now picture Barabbas in prison as he hears the jailer coming to his cell that morning. Was this the day he would be crucified? But the soldier sets him free. How can this be? And he learns that Jesus of Nazareth has taken his place, in effect. Imagine how Barabbas felt that day. Indeed, every other day of his life, someone had died in his place so that he might live. He was free indeed. Like Napoleon's would-be conscript, he had died in the person of someone else. It was indeed Good Friday for Barabbas. Good Friday is only a part of the Easter week story, of course. Jesus didn't die as a martyr, but as a sacrifice. The Passover celebration, which took place that week, involved the sacrifice of a lamb, symbolizing the one whom John the Baptist called the Lamb of God. Paul, the former Pharisee, explained it thus: God demonstrates his own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. If while we were God's enemies, we were reconciled to him through the death of his Son, how much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through his life? Oh yes, his life. On Easter Sunday, Jesus would rise from the dead to give new life to his followers and assure us of our eventual resurrection. Not only was his tomb empty, he appeared to over 500 people before leaving this earth. Jesus died for Barabbas, but he also died for you and for me. 3 days later, he rose from the dead to give us eternal life and guarantee our resurrection someday. Wouldn't Easter be a good time to thank him and become a follower? And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.
And that's going to wrap things up for this Tuesday edition of Shell Point Today for March 22nd. On tomorrow's show, we'll show you some of the beautiful and noble work of the Knitters Anonymous team here at Shell Point. And fitness coordinator Hannah Hosterman will talk about a fun and fitness class at the King's Crown. Until then, I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation, thanking you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow as well.